best right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
And as the great man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded. Indeed, I am back again. I hope you're doing well and safe. Pick up the Twitch gang. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. Make sure your notification bell's on. Appreciative to you lot who was at my watch along yesterday and everyone who's here. Any thoughts, opinions, questions, talking points to do with Arsenal, anything we discussed? And obviously yesterday, please give me your thoughts. Now, I can't lie. I'm exhausted in relation to my opinions on the match. I think I've got it all out of my system. You know, I'm sure you've seen a couple of my videos go live this morning. Check out the last video because I looked at the game from a tactical point of view. But obviously, in short, watching the game twice, beyond the obvious, what could I say? It's not good enough. It's not that. And again, while I like what Arsenal have done, what we've achieved this season in comparison to how we've been the last couple of years, 8th and 5th, we've come a long way. If we're looking at it to be title contenders and for this season to be a precursor and a marker for years to come, we have to take the good and try and be great. And City showed that. Credit to City. They didn't even have to get out of first or second gear. In fact, the car didn't even have to move, really and truly. You know, we gave them the 3 points. And that's testament to City because they're street smart. I think if you watch the game again, you see why you need to be street smart. There's obviously a couple of our players that could probably play in the rondos and stuff City do, but they're better than us on the ball for a wide range of reasons. We'll be here all day talking about every individual player. What you can do is be as good, if not better, off the ball, whether that's what Arteta demands of you and whatever. You could definitely be better last night in comparison to the 2 games we've played where we've actually matched City. We've actually tried to win our individual battles, you know. So I think off the ball, we were not street smart. You know, they picked us apart. They knew Holding would leave gaps. They knew that we as a team would give them opportunities on the transitions. And again, please check out my tactical review. We played into their hands. Look at the last goal. I know it's all said and done, but that's come from a throw-in. We've hoofed it long. Stones has won the header. We've not, you know, our back line is out of play. We're playing everybody on side. Foden and Haaland done the business. You know, Odegaard for the second week in a row has played a straight pass in midfield. They've gone and scored. You know, there's not a single player that couldn't have done better. Even Ramsdale, he made a number of saves, but even some of the goals, I think you could have done better. I think we were nervous. I don't think we were street smart. I don't think we were mature enough on the ball. I don't think we wanted it. I think we were scared. You know, and these are the levels. Can you play when there's every reason not to play? And this is why Arsenal cannot win a league title, because if you can't go toe-to-toe with City in every other game, you need to be perfect. We can't go back in time. But had we have got 6 points coming into this, things would look different. This is why you cannot continue. Things happen. But you cannot continuously drop points from losing positions. You can't have games like at Goodison Park where we didn't turn up. You know, again, you obviously the only points we're probably due is the Brentford one where VAR didn't do its job. But if we're honest, just like Southampton away, we didn't do our job. And to be honest with you, I think we've improved a lot defensively, but I don't think we're a good defensive side. And I've been saying that for months. You know, we're a good attacking side. You know, you take Martinelli or Saka out, you might see a drop-off, but you've got Trossard, you've got other players. I know there's a massive drop-off between Saliba and Holding, but it's not good enough. There should still be a base level of defending, and that goes from our striker all the way to our goalie, really and truly. And obviously, we need personnel. You look at Brighton, anytime Brighton sell a centre-back or someone's injured, there's a base level of defensive performance. Newcastle on the base of this season, that's not quite us. We can't, as much as we could have done with Saliba yesterday and in this running, we can't move like, you know, he would have played and none of this would happen. I know the player that isn't involved is always the messiah, but it's absolutely farcical. We still would have conceded all these goals, not because Saliba wouldn't have made a difference. He would have helped us on the ball, but we don't respect defending as a football club. And until we do that, we're not getting anywhere. Signings are half the job. Arteta's done a lot of good on the training field, but we need to crave clean sheets and defending and putting in suitable defensive performances as much as we like scoring goals. So we were terrible, man. But I've said all of this in all the videos I've done, innit? We were terrible. The one luxury I will say, big up all the substitutes. You know, Smith Rowe was a bit anonymous, but I'll cut him some slack. Smith Rowe, Eddie, definitely Trossard, Jorginho, and I'm missing someone else out. Someone off the bench is definitely getting missed out in that. But the bench was all right. At least we messed up the clean sheet. It's terrible. And for Arteta, you showed your naiveties. For as much as I like him, he's shown his naiveties again. Now, I'm not going to sit and be a hypocrite. I have said prior that he's damned if he do, damned if he doesn't. Because if he switched things, and one, he's a genius. If it doesn't happen, he's an idiot, essentially. And likewise, you're either brave or naive with the lineup and the formation we went out there. I wanted a back four, so I'm not going to criticize him for that. But some of you that were part of my watch along, you could see, and I know he wouldn't do it, but before the first goal went in, like, we've made a mistake here. I don't know how we do it, but we probably got to go through it at the back. We're far too open. And City's game plan was amazing. You know, the diamonds they were setting up, the way they were marking us out of the game, the intense pressing. They knew we would give them some opportunities. And it's an easy performance. We didn't have to take them to their level. And that's testament to City and damning on us, really and truly. We crumbled. In hindsight, I personally think the game was probably lost as these players were walking out and taking off the tracksuit. So there's nothing else to be said. Yes, mathematically and fairy tales, there's you could still somehow end up with the big one. But for me, anytime it comes out of your hands now, anytime that you have to rely on other teams, it's finished. It's finished. You needed to pick up points. And I'm not surprised with the level of defending yesterday, because when we win, nobody cares. Nobody wants to look at things. But it's been there Brighton away. It's been there United at home and away. It's been there Southampton at home and away. It's been there against Aston Villa and Bournemouth, where we came back from behind. Listen, them things, they're happening in games. But the level of defending, we're making things harder than it needs to be. And I'm disappointed because away from home, we've been better than we have been at home. And we've gone to some tough grounds this season, put in some defensive performances, etc., and played some great football. But still no win at the Etihad. Still can't go to Old Trafford and win. Still not done it at Goodison Park. Fair enough, we did it at Spurs. That's not really an achievement. So there's a lot of good, but to be great, it's about these fine margins, and this is what is going to cost us. Obviously, signings are going to help us. I'm sorry for the language, and I respect everyone's opinion, but anybody on the 27th of April saying Mikel Arteta should be sacked, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. You know, one day there might be a time where maybe we review what he's doing, and if we can go to that next level, of course. In the same way, I love Bukayo Saka, but if he doesn't turn up like yesterday, I'm going to ask questions. I have to ask questions of Mikel Arteta. Sometimes he changes things when he doesn't need to, and when he needs to, he doesn't do such. Arteta can plan, but it's like when spanners are thrown in the works, twice against City now. Man United away, where we signed up for that because Arteta didn't do what they needed to do in the transfer market. If you remember, we had to rock up with Lokonga. But if you remember in the game, the minute he's changed things, we've struggled. And actually before this, against West Ham, Liverpool, to a degree, Southampton, it's been questionable. So the flexibility in certain tactics and certain aspects were warranted. The squad, if I'm honest, Arteta, you should have known from last April, the season can be a fairy tale. It can be a fairy tale. Like last year, players that are not good enough came in and did half a job. But once you get to the April-May period, this ain't a fable. This ain't Disney Channel. This is real life football. There's no romance. And that is a sobering reminder yesterday that we've done good as a club, but there's many levels, and certain players just can't. Some players can be squad players, but we're not going to get out of the hood with this. You know, Zinchenko hid yesterday. I'm sorry, I love you, Zinchenko, but you hid. Holding, everyone was crap in it. It don't matter who was good and who's not. Holding turned up for since Holding has come into that lineup, he's been a lot better than people are giving him credit for. And he's probably performed to his level closer than a lot of other better players that we actually rely on, really and truly. Evidently, there's evident problems in Rob Holding playing in a back four and a high line against Haaland, etc. We all knew what was going to happen. But there's a lack of communication in that defense. There's a lack of street smartness. Gabriel's my guy. You're very immature. People are not looking over shoulders. People are not communicating. The first goal, Holding and Gabriel pointing at each other. What the hell is going on, really? And for Gabriel, you need to realize you're the senior leader of that defense. Even if Saliba is there, you're more experienced than him. You need to be mature. With Gabriel, you need to look over your shoulders. Zinchenko, you crumbled. Ramsdale, you helped us, but you crumbled. And to be honest with you, there's a lot Ramsdale needs to improve, really. You know, a couple of the times, you know, he's flapping at chances. He's not covering his post. I expect that because not a single person here, including the manager, is the finished article. And if you lot think you don't need to improve, you're going to learn harsh lessons because City is one thing. What about if you could get Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich? And next season, regardless of if we have a season like this or not, there's a degree of expectation. You don't need to relish this pressure. It comes with the territory. This pressure is better than when we bottled fourth or were eighth and things like that. This is a privilege. You think City players don't feel pressure? You think they don't really feel pressure on their manager and probably the pressure they put on themselves? It's a sobering reminder of the levels we need to go, man. Players are not taking responsibility. Even when Haaland scored, when Haaland with Foden, that was terrible. But I'm sure De Bruyne is second. Odegaard's giving it away. And it's, you know, it's poor from Odegaard. We're at 6s and 7s defensively. Partey follow Kevin De Bruyne. You can see what is going to happen. You know, City didn't have to be at their best. They were just street smart, and that's what they'll do. But we lacked that. And I think a lot of it is tactical. A lot of it is mental. I also think Arteta showed naiveties. And I also think the players didn't take responsibility. It's games like that where players have to be brave, have to stand up to be carried. That's all players looking at their team. A bit like Arsenal of old when Arteta first walked in. Players are looking at each other to make things happen. Players, you know, one thing I like about City, they're little shits. Let's be honest. Grealish is a villain. You know, they were golding us. They were pissing us off. They were barging us. And we bit into it. That's the closest a lot of our attacking players got to them. You saw what Benjamin White was doing to Foden. Don't leave Foden alone because Foden don't even back his mum. He's shameless, in it. That's all we've got. Like, there's so much that needs to improve. And my unpopular opinion is we need to sign bare players. I'm not saying don't sign no one. But the best changes we can make is on the tactical front, on the training ground. The whole reason we're in this whole debate is not only because Jesus and Zinchenko have come in and enhanced this thing, but we've done stuff on the training ground. Xhaka in that 8 role, the whole 3 at the back and the build-up play, all of that sort of jazz. It needs to go to the next level. We need to crave clean sheets. We need to be a lot more street smart. We need to manage games. There's never an ideal way or time to concede a goal. First 7 minutes away from home where City want blood. 1 minute from a dead ball scenario before the end of the first half, 10 minutes odd into the second half. You've then scored in added on time and let in a goal a couple of moments later. You're most vulnerable when you just conceded. To a degree, the manager can't tell these players this. All of you lot in this team, bar a couple, are Champions League virgins. Your cherries are going to get popped next season in the most foul way if you don't pattern up, really and truly. It's going to be mad. And if anybody feels any pressure, if anyone feels this is too tough, you need to leave. Because the way I want my club to go, this is a minimum and it's only going to get worse. Everything's going to be scrutinized. It was boys against men, from our experienced players to our young players. It was boys against men. You know, Saka looked again like a 21-year-old. He weren't really down for it. You know, Trossard probably has to come in for Chelsea, for the Chelsea game. Big up Nelson. There was a little cameo. Eddie, you was about. Jesus, you crumbled. Xhaka, I cut Xhaka some slack. You've been ill in that, innit? But bottled. And if I'm honest with you, can't get out of the hood with that. Partey. It's another game where I still don't think you deserve all the criticism you're getting, but Meady, defense, Meady, if you're not the subs, and even Rob Holding, like, listen, I'm past it with Rob Holding, innit? Like, in the most respectful way, he scored in that, but I'm past it. Like, he shouldn't be used, but he's playing closer to his capacity than any others. What I wanted to see was bravery. If Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland and all these guys do amazing things, what can you say? If we're in the game and they do a bit of brilliance, that's why they're at City. But you played into their hands. You crumbled. You weren't competitive. You didn't want to let them take the 3 points over your dead body. You wouldn't let people go into your house and take up your things and your kids' things. So why did we let that happen yesterday? It was terrible. The league is gone. Well, it was gone a long time ago. But the problem with some of us, and now people are sitting there talking about Arteta out and all of this. We're here because of Arteta. The man has a lot of faults. You know, if we're doing what we're doing for a couple of years, if we say this same season happens for the next couple of years, then you might have to say, you know what, Arsenal, we're at a level now. Arteta, you've done the foundation thing. You might not take us to the next level, but he's a big reason, you know, for our failures as well as the players, but why we're here. I understand the emotion and things like that, but you're either chatting shit or you're doing this agenda thing, or it might be content creators like myself that are trying to get some engagement and are doing a madness. But credit to City. You have to give them credit. They exploited the gaps. When you hear the way Pep, Stones, De Bruyne, the way they spoke about it, they knew that it was either going to be 2 cases yesterday. They knew the worst case for Arsenal fans, what we saw yesterday, and that we crumbled from minute 1 to 90 or 90 odd Or we're going to come there, we're going to be galvanized, we're going to, you know, have possession, maybe some half chances. They knew we'd give them opportunities on the transition. We've been doing it. When we beat Spurs at home, the penalty comes basically, you know, if you don't remember, Bentancur dispossesses Saka. It's in the middle of the field. It's 7 against 2 at that point. We're not doing our jobs. Our players don't respect defending. There's been a number of times where I think Ramsdale in particular has been unfortunate not to get clean sheets, but not a single person in this club respects defending to the level it does. That's why we're not defending well from set pieces and dead ball scenarios. That's why we're not managing games well. Games like that, you know, again, look at the Odegaard chance where Kevin De Bruyne is free. Again, a lot of people are where Odegaard lost the ball. It's games like that where you want people to do a bit more. You might be the left winger, but if you clock what's going on, just get in there and fill it in. And there was a moment in the second half where I can't remember who. I think Gabriel got there before Haaland, and he's telling Ramsdale, comfortable, and he didn't come for it. You know, there's nerves. There's nerves, and for me, I don't like to see us. I do like it, of course. You know me. I like the S-housery. I like the handbags. But, bro, if you're gonna show the fighting thing when you're trying to grips up their players, do it on the pitch. And Partey, I'm not gonna lie to you, you can't be letting Grealish grip you up like that. Gucci model, you're getting gripped up by Victoria Beckham. Slap him, man. Like, again, I respect it from City. It's frustrating to watch, but it's stuff that needs to be done in life. Nice guys and nice people unfortunately finish last. We know it's not right. Life shouldn't be like that. Nice teams finish last. I mean, technically, we're not gonna finish last, but you get the point. You need that grit. You need to be able to play when there's not a single reason when you're scared. And I wanted us to be a bit fearless, because what is going to be said at the end of the game? The same things that I said now. I don't think Holding went out there to sabotage. Again, last year, we saw what playing Rob Holding away from home did. Whose fault is it? In the same way I praise Arteta for building this squad, you've relied on Holding. You talk at the fact that Holding's winking and being captain, it says it all, innit? It's very Sunday League-esque at times. You know, good guy, nice in the change rooms. I'm not negating these things. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done, but we've got to be a bit ruthless. You can see in the middle of the park, it's not levels. Zinchenko, you're still my guy. You still brought a lot to this team, but it's not this false left-back stuff all the time. And to be fair, check out the tactical review I did on my channel, bro. Sometimes Rodri was onto him. Pep left nothing to chance. Pep, who is done way more in the game than Arteta could dream of, in the greatest of respect, Pep left not a single. That's why he is the greatest, arguably with Sir Alex Ferguson. And for me, big up Arsene Wenger. There's no other invincibles in that. But he left not a single facet of that game to chance, and his players retained the information and had the confidence to go out and do it. We was naive, you know. Arteta spoke, we're going to get into it, but Arteta spoke about the principles before the game. Where are the principles? Like, people need to come out. Like, did you tell them to do certain things and the players crumbled and the players didn't lack discipline? Did you set the players up wrong? Because for me, obviously, against City, you need to find that balance of playing out from the back and being brave. But too often than not, we're going long. Last time I checked, we're not the most physical side, and City are definitely more physical than us. And last time I checked, Jesus is a fighter, but out of 10 long balls forward, he is going to probably win about two of them, and Diaz will win the other 8. So it's just going to come right back to us. So what is going on? What are we doing? You know, as much as the evident frustrations, this is what frustrates me. It's more than 90 minutes. And the fact of now it's 12 without winning. Credit to City, like I said. But you lot have been getting your asses handed to you against City. Where is the pride? Where's the desire? There's not a single dirty kit out of all the 22 players, apart from the players that ended up on the floor. You don't need to walk back to Manchester. You don't need no dinner after that game. Nobody in that Arsenal team could be hungry. You know, they work hard enough. Shout out to Trossard and the subs. But it's terrible, man. It was terrible, man. I expected to lose. You heard my preview and whatnot, but it's how you lose. And it's games like this that are a great test, because obviously there's no hiding place. The fine margins go for against you. You're playing some top-class, world-class players, a world-class team. You test yourselves. Not a single player wanted it. We're smacking it into the channel. And big up Akanji. He was great in that left-back role. Again, Pep left not a single thing to chance. Unfortunately for us, it's peak. Of course, we'll challenge again next season. That is the minimum expectation. We need a good summer window to start with. I don't know if we'll challenge. I hope we can, man. DG therapy sessions, it's been a while, which is good, but I'm here for it. Calling the title is disrespectful to the other teams left to play. What does that mean? I'm not sure what you're saying there, but again, anything can happen. But the title's gone, bro. Like it was long gone. It's gone. I hope that in some mad scenario or mad situation, somehow in the games that City have to play, they bottle it all. But this ain't a movie. This is real life. In fact, it's a movie for us. It's probably Mighty Ducks / Coach Carter, where it didn't end up and where we needed it to be. They still have to go out there and do it. But Arsenal are now reliant. The very scenario which I didn't want to be in, where you're relying on other teams and saying if and but and could and should and this. No, it was in our hands. We fumbled it. That's it. And I hope I'm still wrong somehow. But if at any time in life something is not in your hands to decide, you're at some other team's mercy. We're afraid to press every time they had the ball. In fact, you know, I disagree slightly. I think we lack courage. But if you go and look at when they've scored the first, where Stones, who statistically is on the ball quite a lot, and maybe we should have learned, they've set a trap. You know, Diaz has the ball, he goes to Edison, Odegaard, Jesus, Xhaka. In fact, Kevin De Bruyne has said the minute Xhaka and Partey vacate positions, Pep said get into them areas they leave behind. The minute it's gone to Stones, Stones is a baller. But unlike us, he's sensible. When in doubt, kick it out. Big up the YouTube members. And he's gone long. He's gone into Haaland, played a 1-2 with Kevin. And that Kevin De Bruyne goal and them sort of moments, he's probably got 100 of them in the Premier League. So you play with fire, you get burnt. Deservedly so. I mean, everybody's going to improve. This is the Premier League. I'm not saying we'll definitely have another chance. I'm not saying we won't. You know, if it is what it is, we'll have to deal with it. You know, we might be like Chelsea next year. We might be like what we're doing next year. There's good, you know, in the next 5 years, everyone's going to have good or bad moments. But what I don't necessarily agree with is predicting the future and sitting there and assuming that Arsenal is not going to get better or attempt to get better where other teams are. Like, what is going to happen, really? If spending money was it, a lot of teams apart from City, the only guarantee is that City will be fighting for the league again. That's the only guarantee. The other 5 teams, not a damn soul on this world knows what's going on. But I do agree in that, in the sense of slightly different from you, since this title thing has become something, you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, seize it. And that is the thing that's going to hurt these players. As I always say, the feeling of discipline hurts, but it hurts a lot less than regret. Because when you lot are traveling back down from Manny to London, when some of you woke up today, there's regret. You can't do anything. You needed to be disciplined and you can't cheat it. I'm sure some of you lot in you lot's jobs, when you break down all of your remits in your jobs or everything you have to do, or some of you that are at uni that are studying a course, I'm sure there's little micro things within that course or certain things within your job that you don't like. I know there's a lot of things I don't like with YouTube, but it needs to be done. The players are cheating themselves. You can't, and again, I'm not on the training ground. I don't know how hard you are working defensively. Maybe if I did, we're going about it the wrong way. But you can't, you have to be a great defensive side. And defending is just not tackling and stuff like that. It's how you manage a game. It's getting bodies back. It's reading danger, certain areas you take up on the field. It's knowing when to be brave. It's knowing actually when the other team's on top of you and, okay, let's just take some punches and absorb some pressure. What you're saying is needed, I reckon, a backup. I reckon a right back and a centre middle 2 and a striker. I'm with that. Exactly that. I watched the entire game to see the players' reaction and mentality while losing. One thing stood out for me: Saka is a fighter and a winner, future captain for sure. PS Odegaard shouldn't be captain. I don't think I saw a fight from people. The only positive I would say in terms of fighting is when I removed my emotion, there was handbags. I did like when it was 1-0 and Jesus was doing that, but that died out. Zinchenko knew it weren't one of them huddle things. Can't say I saw mentality yesterday. Maybe the subs, yeah, I can't say I saw any of that. I'm seeing Gabriel. Can you not even see? Let me move this chair. This is, sorry, people. This is one thing that was, and I love Gabriel, yeah. This is one thing that was pissing me off with Gabriel yesterday, yeah. This is one thing that was pissing me off. It kept going like this when we've conceded. Like, oh my days, get the fuck up and play, bro. You've never conceded. If you can't take the pressure, get out the kitchen. This is City. We wanted to be in this scenario. As much as I'm vexed about the opportunity we had at hand and stuff, this is a lot better than where we've been. This is a privilege. You don't know when you're next going to be here. And all I ask is you give it your all, you know. And I'm not saying the players went out. I don't agree with the players don't care and they want to lose on purpose. But I can't defend you if certain fans were a bit sinister and believed that, really. But clearly, we need a centre mid. We need a backup right back. I mean, we need a right back. We need a centre middle 2. Need a 9 that's a bit more physical than what we've got currently with Jesus, Nketiah, and/or Balogun, bro. But more importantly, need to work on the training ground, because buying players is the sexy bit. It's the training ground. It's the things we don't see. If buying players was everything, City wouldn't be winning the league all the time. On one hand, you're only as good as the tools you have, but on the other hand, if you're not maximizing them, it's peak. I don't know for City, Arsenal winning anything next year, but this has to be, and this is where these players have to be. They have to make this a minimum. And I want them, you know, if I could speak to these players, which I can't, remember how it feels. Remember how it felt in that change room. Remember how it felt on that football field. Remember how it saw you. I'm sure some of you saw the fans there doing their shakes. Remember how that felt. Remember how this felt. You wanted to just get out of there. Remember how this scrutiny felt and use this to drive you. This either breaks you or it makes you. Now, there's no salvaging the season and things like that. Let's just end it as high as we can. You know, if you win your games, you keep some small hopes alive for some of you lot that believe that. You've got a London derby against Chelsea, who you beat in the reverse fixture. Lampard can't buy a win. Don't make him come Emirates, and that is a win. And that's it. It's out of your hands now. You're at their mercy. You know, I'm not quite where some Arsenal fans were last year, where they're relying on Norwich in our top 4 battle to beat Spurs. It is a myth. Once it's out of your hands, for me, I mentally check out. Arteta has levels to reach. But the thing is, Arteta, I think he has learned. But isolated to this Premier League season, and the Europa, I don't think you're learning. Europa League, you didn't learn. You didn't learn. Because you have, again, it's enough. As much as I love Arteta, and I think he's the guy, he never learned. Because you didn't manage the 2-legged tie well enough. Maybe if we did our job, certain players didn't have to play. You didn't manage it well enough. Fair enough, we rotated the team in the FA Cup against City. I'm not going to get onto you for that. You're not learning. As much as Arteta has learned some things, we're too open on the transitions. You're too slow to react to certain subs. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I got it wrong, let me make a change. Way before the first goal went in, you could see, boy, we're in trouble. And it's a twofold. The players were nervous. You know, from that pen shout, it feels so long ago, the pen shout in the first couple of moments. What led to that? Ramsdale flapping at it. And the last few games now, players have been shook. I think we are too emotional. And I think the last 3 games from Liverpool to, no, 4. Liverpool, West Ham, help me out, Southampton yesterday. There's been different emotions. Against Liverpool, we got complacent. Pardon me. We got a bit complacent, and then we got scared of the atmosphere. Credit to Liverpool. Against West Ham, the sun was shining. We scored the goals. We thought the job was done. It's a 90-minute game. Against Southampton, fair enough. Stupid mistake from Ramsdale. It happens. He gets clipped on his ears. We go again. We're too emotional after that first goal's gone in. We've conceded a second. We've done well to come back into it. But as you know, if you go 2 down, it's difficult as it is. But once you know, it's very difficult to win a game after you've conceded 3. And I'm not surprised by the goals and the level of the goals we've conceded, because earlier in the season, I've been saying this and people have said, oh my God, you're so negative. No, I'm just watching the game and I'm not letting emotions gas me, really. I'm not surprised with the goals we've conceded. You look at the Leeds games at home. You look at Palace, Leeds where we were fortunate. You look at the 2 games against United. You look at Brighton away. You look at Leicester at home. You look at the Spurs game where Spurs got the pen and something else. Even Spurs away where we were superb, we were great, still giving them too many opportunities. I don't think if you're actually looking at these things, you can be surprised, because these have been issues. It's only the sentiment that now changes when people want to dissect the results and things like that. For a lot of the season, Arsenal fans were sitting there and, pardon my language, chatting shit. Oh my God, we're top though. That's great. But it's a marathon, not a sprint. A lot of the things that fans, some, and I mean some, not all, a lot of the things that fans cry that these players don't do, or these players have, they do the exact same thing. They're reactionary, they're emotional, they're that, the other, they're not calculated enough. But hey, it is what it is. But man can't draw out Holding. We know Holding shit. Like, we respectfully, if we know his shit, shouldn't be here. But he's always tried. The very fact that you're getting the captain's thing on is ridiculous. And I won't criticize Arteta, but if I'm looking at these last couple of games now, Jesus, Odegaard haven't stood up to be counted. And also the very fact that the Spartans are being subbed, the key players are being subbed in key moments, that tells you, oh, that should eat you up inside. I do think Arteta did Smith Rowe a bit dirty. You tried to throw him on against City and that. You should have used him before. I still think we got leaders, but man have to motivate themselves, bro. You can take someone to the water, you can't help them drink. Pep gives them all the tools, and obviously they're great players. That's what gets them working on the Pep. He gives them all the tools, but it's about their willingness to learn, their willingness to apply it on a game. As you see it, the City players always get mad at each other, such as the high standards. And anytime Pep gets and I'm not saying the 2 situations are the same, but anytime Pep gets a whiff of you're not falling in line, Cancelo gone, Sane gone, rightly or wrongly gone. He's not on it. And that's why, as much as Pep is a great manager, tactics, trophies, all of that jazz, it's his ability to never allow his team and himself to get complacent is why they're doing what they're doing. Bro, I still think we got leaders in the team. I still think man are leaders. In relation to going for titles and that, I don't know if you man are leaders in it, but I'm not going to turn on you lot. Like, you lot just have to hold your licks. It's a sobering reminder of man are not there yet. This is not Disney Channel. There was no Mighty Ducks things. This is the reality of the Premier League. It's not good enough to be good. You need to be great. And regardless of how this season has gone, take the good and make it better. Take the terrible and make it a suitable standard. Because everyone wants to focus on, oh, we got one of the best attacks. Bro, our defense, which for us at a time, we did have one of the best statistical defenses in the league and probably still do, even though we've shipped a couple goals. I think we're levels with United. Our defense or standard of defending should not fall off a cliff just because Saliba isn't there. A 21-year-old playing in his first season and who has also made mistakes as great as he is. It's not as simple as Saliba slides back in. If not, half of the examples I gave with cheap goals being conceded wouldn't have been there with Saliba. The biggest thing with yesterday for me is we cheated ourselves. We keep cheating ourselves. We keep defeating ourselves for as much as the obvious. Arteta has levels to reach, but he's got to go and do it. And to be honest, I do think at the end of the season they'll announce a new deal and whatnot with him, with Arteta. I think he's contracted until 2025. With what we've done, I imagine he does that. But yeah, Xhaka's the only real fighter. I disagree, but still, crikey, 6 ads in 5 minutes, was enjoying it too. That's Twitch, man. Hey, man, support the thing, man. Support the thing. You're helping out the channel, man. Small price to pay. When the TV's running, as you don't say nothing, you don't need a proper holding mid though too. Bro, I don't know what more could big up you, but you said it. I think we need another number 6. I think we need another 8. I think personally, I'm starting to think, do you need 2 centre halves? One that can compete with Saliba and maybe like a Dan Burn. I know people might look at that as a left-sided choice. But someone that could be Rob Holding, you barely remember he's here. He knows how to defend. He knows his thing. He's very fairly good on the ball and whatnot and can come in and do a job. I want people that crave defending. I need street, as much as I want to keep signing young players and all this jazz, players need to be street smart. They need to be street smart. You know, if you don't know where a certain area is and you walk down there and you get mugged, fair enough, that's your first fault. You know, that's not your fault. Second time, if you go down there, still not your fault because people shouldn't be robbing people. But you should know, I shouldn't go down that street. I shouldn't turn that left. I shouldn't walk past that estate. I shouldn't go down here at night. Not street smart. How much time are we going to put our hand in the fire and get burnt? How much times are we going to watch the same movie and hope for a different ending? It doesn't make sense. With Zinchenko, Jesus, Xhaka starting, we ain't winning nothing. If they were good enough, they'd be at City. We took Big Bro's hand downs and we're flexing like it's Prada. No, I think they can be used. I think if the mentality was a lot better, we would have done a lot better yesterday. But yeah, Kevin killed us. But we killed ourselves. We took that gun and went bang way before Kevin did his thing. We don't sack a manager for finishing second. Arteta out is put out by people that have always wanted him out and we still want him out even if we won the league. Is that again? This is how it goes. But the only thing wrong with Arteta is we don't rotate in lesser games. I think he rotates unnecessarily when he doesn't need to. Obviously, we don't have a squad. You can say City squad is bigger than ours, but is it really? How many players statistically has Pep used? Them players there are durable as hell. And we got to remember there was a World Cup as well. Again, I assume the vast majority of them were there. You know, they didn't cry that, oh, I ain't got no Ake. Oh, Ake. And Ake is a squad player for City on the best of days. This season, arguably, with excluding Haaland and maybe Kevin and a couple others, he's been City's best player. He weren't there. Akanji, go left back. Now, obviously, when you've got players to a certain standard, even though, I still think Akanji's a stunt double, really, because that could never be the same Akanji that was in the Bundesliga. Shout out to Pep Guardiola. They got around it. I don't want to keep hearing about players that are not involved. Obviously, it plays a part, but you're never going to have it. And it's only going to get worse if I have Arsenal in the way I want it next season, in that, well, we get at least to the knockout stages of the Champions League, literally the last 16. We go as far as you can in the FA Cup, the League Cup, etc. For me, there's the biggest things with Arteta, I would say, as much as I love him, I think there's 3 things that really pee me off around you. I think you suffer with that Wenger thing, in that you put faith in certain men that are not good enough. And then, yeah, I don't think you're learning from mistakes at times fast enough in the transfer market. We've seen what a lack of centre mid has done for us and certain options. I think, you know, sometimes you're very slow to react in games. And I can't lie, I think you should be a bit more ahead in this. Arteta has to grow, man. But I'm an Arsenal fan. Let's be honest. As much as I love what Arteta is doing and the players, I love you lot conditionally. I love my club unconditionally. I picked this. I love Saka, but I don't love Saka because he's a nice guy. I don't know him as a person. I love you because you're obviously a nice guy, great byproduct, but I love what you're doing for the football club. Arteta, I like you. Really do like what you're doing, but I don't like you for no reason. I like you because I think you're the guy. There will come a time where I might have to look at and demanding a bit more, but yeah, every player must involve both. Holding can go Bournemouth if he wants, but I don't want to hear nothing about Holding because he was meaty, but he was a lot better. He stood up to be carried. Dare I say it, Holding was actually passing the ball forward a lot more than a lot of people. I'd rather us be brave. We make mistakes, calm. And again, I don't know what's happened, but prior to yesterday, We've lost all 4 games, 3 previous day yesterday, right? But we've been definitely better than how we have, and we've matched them a lot closer at the Etihad, at the Emirates ×2 this season and lost. So what the hell happened? I don't care if players weren't there. It comes down to pride. I blame Arteta for losing, but the players for getting smashed. Zinchenko is not a defender. He should be an attacking midfielder. There's got to be a reason he's not playing in midfield. And games like that, whether it's Tierney or someone else, it's not always going to be this inverted left-back thing taking us out the hood. You need to be able to do things. And that's the thing, you know, a couple of players have bad games. Odegaard disappointed. You're still my guy, my captain, still believe in you, but disappointed. You weren't, you know, statistically, you've scored. You're up there for one of the midfielders that have scored the most away from home, but you weren't part of the trenches yesterday. You weren't. You weren't. And it's the second game in a row, nonchalant passes in the middle of the park. If I'm honest, Arsenal should win the last 5 games and end the season on 90 points. City will win the league with 94, 92, or 91. That's great for us, man. In my opinion, I'm telling Zinchenko and Jesus, thanks for what you've done. But next season, I'm looking for upgrades. So are you saying get rid of them? Big up yourself, American Gooner. We are probably about 20 years behind City. Probably exaggerating a bit, but we are. Off the field, we're way behind them. Not even just resources in the way they do things. Of course we are. Of course we are. Correct. This is where we want to be. We want to challenge for the title every single game. This is every single season. This is Arsenal, not them, lot down the street, hot spell, whatever. Now I see why Arteta Eddie wanted to get Martinez before for Zinni, not firing any shots at Zinni because he played a big part in us being in this position. I like him, but Martinez, Lissandro, is it Lissandro? Is it Lissandro? This United one. He's a dog. But this left back thing wouldn't have worked. You know, you heard he wanted to play as a centre half. I don't know. I obviously he can carry a ball, he can do all of these things, but we wouldn't have had the build-up play there. I reckon if we signed Martinez, Gabriel probably doesn't have the season he has. That's a centre half. I back Arteta to convert and all this, but at the time of when we were linked with him, he played 12 times at left back. Hell, when Arsenal went over to Amsterdam to scout him, he's playing centre half. And I don't doubt Lissandro's, you know, the fact that he can improve, and obviously he'd probably join the back 3, but bro, that would have been peak for Gabriel. I would have taken it because Lissandro, like you said, is a mentality monster. He's a dog. That's someone who loves defending. But again, he's only as good as the people next to him. United, when they have their key players, are a better defensive side. But like us, they don't love defending. That's why you see De Gea do BS, and sometimes they concede BS goals. You know, you're only as good as the ones around you. And Lissandro plays to a high level. You can see it. But you're not going to get the best out of him until everyone's mentality changes. Exactly that. Moments like yesterday is where the players needed to think and move rationally. Their heads were gone within 5 minutes of the game. Cutting edge issue that separates us. Exactly. You give City an inch, they're gonna take a yard. Hear that, man? You ain't lying, my bro. We haven't really defended that great. Arteta out is not on the cards, and anyone saying that needs to check themselves. But going forward, Arteta needs to learn why we've self-sabotaged and how we improve going forward, rebuild and move. Smash the like button. Big up the Twitch gang, man. Big up CeeLo. For someone called Deluded, you really be spot on, man. Kudos. Yeah, you either the name's fitting or you're not sold to someone, in it. You know, it's more appreciate that. More of the story is people always gonna talk. Get with it. Zaha. Boy, I don't know. Man said I'm stressed again. Woozy, go away. Gabriel proved he's a bozo without Daddy Saliba. Appreciate that. And let's cut the crap. You know, Gabriel needs to. That's what's gonna. I said this a couple of days ago. I like Ramsdale. I like Gabriel. I don't think either one should be moved out now at the moment. But if we keep progressing and in 2, 3, 4 years, if certain things haven't been eradicated, that is where we're now going to be let down. Gabriel's rashness is going to cost him. And I didn't even think it was a rashness yesterday. It's being able to look over your shoulder and govern the thing, really and truly, is where he needs to improve. But there's been times Saliba's held his hand. There's been some times Saliba's played crap and Gabriel's done well. On form, Gabriel's been one of the best defenders this year. I'm not going to turn him. He's got absolutely a lot of things that need to be improved. You'll never win anything with kids is ringing true. It's true, but that's why there's experienced dons. And based on this game against City, honest to God, you look around the Arsenal team. Who look young, who look old? The subs did their thing. Did Xhaka look any different from, I don't know, Saka? I see Xhaka rattled. I see Benjamin rattled. And the thing is, man, I rattled. Use that energy in the right way. I saw everybody crumbling. And everyone, young or old's got these individual mistakes. Even the last couple of games before this, it's actually been the experienced players effing shit up. So what's going on? Are you lot crumbling? What is going on? Either way, you need to fix up. Appreciative to you lot tuned in. We've got 41 likes, people. There's 145 of you locked in on YouTube. Twitch can keep doing what you're doing. Follow on Twitch, but come on, let's hit the like button. You need different characters in the squad to have a balance. Arteta said that they analyze players' mentality before signing them. Hopefully this summer they sign players who don't get intimidated. That's true. But I'm pretty sure you look at the City team, they're all mentality monsters, but I imagine some are more quiet, some are more shouty. There's some jokers there. John Stones and Walker strike me as that. Man are just with it. We've had that at Arsenal. You know, we had the geezers, we had the French lads. Man, just get with it. Some of you in your Sunday league teams, you got the good youths, you got the geezers, you got the other guys. Just get with it, man. But you do need different characters. But the thing is with Arsenal, unfortunately, I believe anyways, especially when someone's not good enough, we overplay on that, whether it's the fans, which including myself were guilty of, the media, the gaffer, we overplay. Anytime someone's media, they're great in the changing rooms, man. Great, that is good. But if the mentality has really changed, if we've really eradicated the old guard and the people that were holding this club back, I'm not knocking it, but surely that's overstating them. We should have, bro, first 7 minutes before the goal, should have done a thing. What is the aim of Kirill? Obviously, we probably signed Kirill to think about a few seasons above, beyond this, in it really, and only time will tell. But based on what the opportunity we found ourselves in, I don't understand the reluctance to use Jorginho, but you could understand Jorginho. Trossard has done his thing, and for this year at least, Kirill can't help us. We have to win a trophy next season and take cup competition seriously. When I say project is ended, I mean it's time to go now. I hear that. I hear that. One love for the super chat once again. Yeah, exactly. All apart from him. See? And this is the thing. And if I'm honest, Zinchenko and Gabriel, you lot showed why you're accessories. You're not the main thing. You lot are side dishes, you know, because you're not stepping out into it's games like, and I'm not just blaming them, but it's games like this. You know, Zinchenko, you helped City towards the end of the season get the trophy where you stood up to be carried last year. I never saw that yesterday. Jesus, the only thing I saw 1-2 dribbles in the second half. I saw you telling people to calm down at 1-0, but this is the game. These are the moments. If I'm honest with you, Granit Xhaka, Partey, Mr. Martin Odegaard, you're our captain, making your 100th appearance for the club. You've only, and I'm not knocking it, I ain't won nothing, but you've only won a Copa del Rey. You should want to show up yesterday. If I'm brutally honest with you, how far does experience go? Ramsdale, you've been in high pressure environments where you're fighting for your life for 3 points. City should be nothing to you. Where was that? Holding, you're meaty, but you're one of the most experienced. Gabriel. My point, if you notice, I've listed basically the whole team. Saka, you crumbled yesterday. I allowed the young G's and that, but you crumbled. Martinelli, you weren't there. To the point now where some fans are saying, oh boy, we should go with Nelson or Trossard against Chelsea. I'm not knocking it. I think there's every logic. The way I feel, you might as well start players who got a reason to play. But if I'm honest with you, I feel two ways. Saka will look, I understand why Arteta does it, because when you've got a player that can make things happen like Saka, I'm not comparing him to Salah, but these players will play every week because you're scared to be without them. But if I'm honest, if someone has to be dropped out of Saka and Martinelli, you can't dare tell me it should be Martinelli based on what we're seeing. It should be Trossard for Saka. Nelson, the only positive really, apart from the subject, you've done a little skillers, and we got away with it. Dortmund defense was bad. Maybe this one is hiding his deficiencies. Probably. Beat us with no left back. We need to actually be ruthless, but sadly, I know this club won't do it. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Xhaka needs to be a squad player. Listen, and it's not an agenda thing. We've seen we need an 8 that can play when there's no reason to play. We saw it at Liverpool. We need an 8. We need a 6 when Partey is going through these moments. And even that, we're talking about street smartness, which I think Caicedo and Rice do. But generally, are they the most experienced? Have they played in champs? So I don't know, but that's an area. We need defenders. If you could find a 26, 27, 28-year-old, respectfully, nobody that just loves defending, that will help us a lot. We clearly need a 6-foot striker. If they're not going to be a starter, they need to be on that bench. Because why are we kicking it long? And if it's either the players are not listening to Arteta, or Arteta is telling you take no chances, bang it into the channels. And like I said, Diaz is, for me, I think he's the best centre-back. I love him a lot, you know. When I say best, I'm not here to say quality in that, but in most enjoyable defenders to watch centre-backs for me in the Prem, Van Dijk when he's on his form, Ruben Diaz, Lisandro Martinez, and I fuck with Saliba and Gabriel. We need someone that's on that. We need someone that's on that, and I mean, he's a mountain. Jesus will win out of 10 balls there. He'll win 2-3 max. The rest, And you kind of saw it. It weren't Jesus at the time, but if you remember the fourth goal, we've cleared our lines. Stones has won the ball. We're disjointed, Foden and Haaland. You know the story. DJ, I'm looking at Edu like a hawk in the summer. We need to pull. He needs to pull his finger out. We have Champions League. Don't spend all windows selling players. Please sort out the team. We'll have to see, man. I agree. Arteta has been naive tactically in key games this season, especially last night. But I question his assistants. Are they yes men? Also, he's shown too much loyalty to some of these guys. I don't think they're yes men. But at the end of the day, if I can't imagine, obviously they know more about ball than us, but I can't imagine his assistants aren't sitting there and saying maybe you should do this, that, and the other. And if Arteta's not receiving the information, why not? You know, we have to ask him questions. But at the same time, it's the gaffer in it. You want it, for me anyways, rightly or wrongly, if I'm the manager, I want the failure to be because of me. Like if I think let's go with a back four, he's saying no, you should go with a back three. I go with a back four and we win. I'm gonna take the praise. And if we lose, I should have listened, but I would kind of want it to be me. I mean, Pep doesn't surround himself with yes men. If Arteta has learned anything from Pep, he shouldn't really. He's a good finish from Holding. I mean, he's got more Prem goals. He's got more Prem goals, and that we're going to add an asterisk and say more big game goals than Richarlison. We're leaving with something. What we need to remember is that we built this team with Europa League money, and Law is now on board and act like a big club this summer. All love from Singapore. DG, big up yourself. I want the right players, man. I want the right players. And I know City have bought some ballers for some big money. Haaland, relative, not big money, but you get it. Grealish as well. And there's maybe a couple others. But when you look at the vast majority of their team, the players have been relative household names, but they haven't. They've been guys that we would have probably sat here and said, yo, we'll take them. You know, Bernardo Silva excited for Monaco. Bring him. Kevin De Bruyne, when he rebuilt himself in Germany, quickly. Sane, quickly. Remember when he's at Schalke? I'm sure a lot of you were onto him. They've just grabbed a 1-2 couple of them. Diaz cost a lot, but he was there. Benfica, quickly. Like, they're not... People move like they're signing Bear Galacticos and they're signing Kaká and Ronaldo and all of that. They're making smart additions. That's what we need to be on. So, yeah, man. It is what it is. Odegaard bottled it yesterday. I love the guy, but he bottled it. DG, let's be real. We wasn't gonna beat City, but we still got a chance if we win the rest of our match. Big match temperament is such a big thing at Arsenal right now. When every game is big, the crumbling is evident in the team. Let's be real. When there was no pressure, Arsenal was killing it, but we weren't seeing the gaps for where it is and where it was. Speak for yourself. And I'm going to be fair to the players. I agree with you because now the pressure cooker is on. And I think Southampton and City showed the mental cracks now, innit? But there's been not exactly the same with what every game means for the long term. There's been high pressure environment and games where we've come back from behind and previous Arsenals with a loss. But now I'm trying to move away from that. I applaud this football club for what they have done, for what they used to be. But if we've now turned this corner now and we now need to judge it for what it is, there's many levels to go up. And if I'm starting to be harsh, really harsh, being cruel to be kind, why should I praise you for being consistent? Why should I praise you for winning your games? Why should I praise you for certain things that I myself sit and bang on about? It comes with the territory. You don't praise Messi for being good at football. You don't necessarily praise him for being consistent. Obviously, you do, but you get the point. It comes with the territory. And if these lot think the pressure is now, bro, the water's lukewarm. You was a breath of fresh air. You excited. You know, I know everybody's running agendas, but you've been one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the Premier and in world football. You've been a bit of an unknown entity. Now there's a degree of expectation. Because whether you get Champions League next year or not, you're probably going to sit there and people are going to have you in their top four when not like this year. People know what Zinchenko is going to do and all these guys. This comes with the territory. This is what you want. Dreams can also be nightmares. You want to be in this. This is what comes with it. I don't know for Chelsea, man. Form goes out the window, man. Form goes out the window, bro. True Gooner, I'm just here, man. Listen, any other content creators, respectfully, I don't give a flying monkeys what they have to say, what they've said, what they've done. Please, I can only be accountable for myself and what you lot say. Let's just have a great platform where win, lose, draw, Arsenal fan or not, we talk football in it. We have a laugh and a joke, but we talk ball in it. Got schooled, bro. Got schooled, man. Got schooled, man. Absolutely schooled. Battled until April. Failed at the last furlong. And if I'm honest with you, Arteta hasn't learned from this period. That's for one thing for my gaffer, because we saw this last year. Different contexts, of course, but we saw this. You have to learn. A mistake, old habits die hard, but mistakes have to be learned. Well, I get it. You wanna think you learn to spell properly, Spurs fan. There's your attention. We might have bottled the league, but yeah, where's your league titles, my guy? Come on, man. I'll accept it from Liverpool fans, from Chelsea, from United. I understand your season's not happening. Spurs have done no drillings. Who are you kidding? There's a reason you lot have cocks on your emblem. You're absolute dickheads. Please, man. You're not even following as well, man. Come on. If you're gonna troll on Twitch, at least support their cause, man. Oh, furthermore, on behalf of every Arsenal fan, suck your mum, man. Simple as that. Anyways, being professional. Any brands mess with me, I'm saying I'm a bit like Pepe and Douglas Diego Costa. Sorry, there's a bit of a split personality there. You're right, DG. We could have brought Isaac, but no, we waste too much time. But let's see what our coach and our players do. DG, do you think Jesus will get 20 league goals? Honestly, I think he's got the ability and the capacity to, but I can only go off what I'm seeing right now. No, I'm a lot more confident in you being able to do that than Lacazette, but I need to see it, isn't it? Like, I need to see it. You've been in relative good form since you started starting games, but yeah, to be honest with you, as much as our front three was dead, if our midfield don't want to play, and we're not playing out from the back, and we're playing a team with City where they're suffocating us, we're out. We've killed ourselves in our attacking quality before we've got a chance. But I just want to bring a next striker in now, man. Different quality now. Riley, big up you, man. Bro, anyone on the Arteta route, you can have your thoughts in it, but you're doing too much. Nelson is the one you forgot coming off the bench. I'm watching this back, so I'm a bit delayed. Also, we weren't pressuring from the front. The amount of time, Edison, I'm telling you, Edison was ordering Deliveroos. Edison was probably playing Candy Crush. Edison had nothing, but I'm sure you lot, some of you are part of my watch along. I said we might as well ask Edison at half time if he wants to run in midfield. And when Edison was doing that, it was taking off my Arsenal cap. It was funny, but make sure you win the champs, Edison, because I am going to make sure you cry. Akanji's been one of the signings of the season, bro. Are we sure that Arsenal can secure top 4 this season, given Arsenal is on a streak of dropping points? Mathematically, we've done it with Brighton losing yesterday. So I'm so confused. How does a headed clearance from City drop at the top of our 18 straight to a City player? Because if you remember it, and again, I'm not on a shameless plug thing, but if you go back, I dropped a video earlier today. I've explained it. Obviously, if you remember, we're in the corner flag. Zinchenko throws it to Jorginho, right? Gabriel's right next to Haaland. Benjamin White and Holding are in our box. And Nelson is right next to Foden. I'm not blaming Nelson. I'm painting a picture. If you remember, Zinchenko, not that he had much to do, he's clipped it. Stones has won the header, is falling to Foden, and we're disjointed defensively. We're playing everyone on side. This is what I mean by we need to love defending. Because if we was in the final third, how many times do you see players in the final and middle third make that run from midfield into the box, make runs out wide? Because they're thinking, because they like attacking. We're not thinking defensively. And it's that ugly part, and it's difficult. And I know time has changed, and I'm only 28, and we did not win the champs. But I've seen my team rock up in the burner bar with some makeshift defense and put in a shift. I know it's not the same, but that just tells you there's a want to defend. We have to want to defend. And I think we started off the season trying to do that, and it started rearing its head with the sloppy goals at a point probably around the United time of following us now, not switching on from dead balls and set pieces. Pardon me. I don't think it was a case of a glaring individual error, if anything, Odegaard's, but you've got the element of individual errors. Again, we're still developing as a club, but it's unsustainable if you want to achieve things. Mistakes happen. Balls get lost in the middle. There are things people have to accept. It happens in football. Them things happen, but it's far too frequent. And it brings me back to that. Maybe not so much this year, but historically, you never know what quiet Arsenal is going to turn up sort of chat, if I'm honest with you. Again, shameless plug, but check out this video, people, that I've just posted if you want to see my extended thoughts in relation to the tactics. In all honesty, I appreciate you lot for being here, but I've exhausted and we're watching Spurs Man United later, by the way, people across Twitch and YouTube, but I've exhausted what I could possibly say, man. It's peak, man. It's peak. Absolutely peak. Oh, thumbnail's wrong. That tells you what this team done to me. Fortunately, though, we can swap that. right in front of you. Look, we'll do that right now. My bad, man. You can't blame me, man. You can't blame me. Them goals rattled me, Oliver. Let me change that now. Let's change that to, let's call it change. My bad. You know, that's maybe that's subconsciously I'm projecting what I would have loved to have happened. Pete, man, trust in Arteta. Listen, listen, I like Arteta. I'm an Arteta fan. I'm a fan of my club. If there's ever a period where it looks like, okay, cool, we need to get rid of you, then I'll be the first to say it. But right now, I think you're the guy. I don't think you've done any. Well, I think you've done a lot right. I think you've done a lot wrong. I think you're the guy. Now, if Arsenal start qualifying and doing what we're doing this year for a while, and you can't get us over the line, then naturally, you know, you don't just stay at your job for the sake of it because you're a nice person and they like you. It's what you can offer. But you lot in your personal lives and your jobs, if you stop doing your job to a suitable standard, it doesn't matter what you did a year ago. You're going to lose your role, aren't you? So everyone needs to learn. There's not a single person that anyone that's the finished article needs to go. If that was it. But you know, Edu's got a lot to learn in the sport in front. Arteta's got many things to learn. Every individual player's got a lot to learn. Chin up, man. Listen, win, lose, and drawing's coming with football. Like, big up Africa Gooner. I was supposed to have a supporter show, and I'm not dropping him in it, but he didn't want to be here because we lost. And I think that's bullshit thing, Rod, if I'm completely honest with you. I don't want to necessarily be online right now, but winning, losing, and drawing comes with life, let alone football. You can't always, the sky can't always be blue, you know. Well, unless you're City in it, essentially. So have to get with it. Just have to get with it. 64 likes, people were slacking. Keep your thoughts coming. The squad is finished. Whoever's thinking they'll challenge next season needs to come out their fantasies. This team has bottled 2 seasons, top 4 spot, and the title. To be fair to you, they bottled top 4 last year. They learned from it. I'm not saying that is gonna follow us into the Prem for next year. I hope it does, but just be a bit fair to them, man. My only worry is Arsenal love being a couple of pennies short of a pound. Like, you got a good base. If you bring 1-2 things more in, it could be all right, man. I can't lie, DG. I feel like our recruitment is overrated. We made some good signings, but poor signings. But I agree. I think, you know, for every good couple of things we've done, we've left ourselves short. DG, I hear you. These last few games will show you where the men will be separated from the boys. I hear that, but if I'm harsh, and I know mathematically, and if an absolute madness happens, the title's not decided as much as I think it is, but it would be very much, and I hate to say it, but it would very much be an Arsenal thing to now go and win these games where there's no real pressure. We could do with Ivan Toney. On a real, this summer transfer activity will determine if this season has to be a one-off or start something special. Gonna live or die by certain things, man. Well said, DG. I'm massively pro Arteta, but he got it wrong last night. Do you think we should have sat deeper? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, innit? You can't, you know, if you drop your line back, you're encouraging City. High line like we tried, you're exposing yourself. I think it's a twofold. I think Arteta can be guilty of being naive with how he lined us up yesterday. But I don't think the players, I personally think Arteta said, you know what, we're going to do what got us to this point. You lot be brave, etc., etc. That's where Arteta has to hold his L for being very naive. Then the players lack courage, really. And then we're sitting ducks, essentially, really. They lack courage to play out from the back. There was no ideas. Nobody stood up to be counted. To be honest with you, it looked like we were just in admiration of City's players, which I can't blame them for. And I hope all of you sat there, remember how it felt to lose, and actually looked at them and thought, wow, how good would it be to be them? Because that should be the aspiration of every team in this league, beyond the obvious. You should want to be like City. That's why I keep using them as an example. Who better to follow than someone that's walked in the ground, walked the walk that we want to do? Excluding the champs, because I hope they get out of that. Big up, DG. Saw a stat today that kind of hurt, but it showed Arsenal have been first for the longest without winning the league. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And City played it perfectly. This is why, if you're not going to beat City, you need to mathematically do what you need to do, really. So, yeah, man. We are not the finished article, and neither is our manager. It's disappointing not to be able to take this opportunity, but we've improved from last season. They've showed us the levels required. The players have to, you know, you have to chase perfection. You can never be happy. And I think players have got to complain. I think that our players can be guilty of probably enjoying it a bit too much. So it is what it is, man. All you can do is move forward in life, you know. Discipline hurts, but it hurts a lot less than regret. They picked regret over discipline. If you remained disciplined yesterday, you might have been able to sleep easier. But they didn't. So we're at where we're at now, aren't we, really? I beg, allow us on Tuesday. Bro, it's Chelsea versus Arsenal going to be a lot closer than you think, really, especially with our current form. And the fact that Lampard hasn't won already, and the fact that we beat, I think, be a lot closer. But I can't lie, if Arsenal, if it was to go off paper, I hope we absolutely slaughter you lot. Third season will be the charm. Yeah, trust. You know the vibes. Big up you lot for being tuned in as well. Keep smashing the like button, offering your thoughts, etc. Very engaging talking with you lot. We needed a right-footed centre-back and a centre midfield to build when we're on top. Looking back in the Jan, should have brought in a right-sided centre-back, like you said, man. Oh, Jesus is a squad player, man. Until he shows anything different, you're a squad player. You can help us, you can complement, but I don't think, if anything, the young G's, Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe last year, you lot have shown you can be relied upon. There's fair weather players. Players are half on it, players are half not. And I'm not asking, you know, Jesus has the ability, but I'm not asking you to score 1 million goals and do whatever. But you can see why you lot were using Zinchenko, you lot were valued squad members, but peripheral figures at City, but never the go-to men. If we win the rest of our games, I'm convinced we'll take it at least to the final day, which is all we can ask for. If Brentford then decide to do us a favour, happy days. Daniel, big up you, me, not putting my heart through that. I see too many ifs and buts and coulda and woulda and shoulda, and this is all assuming that Arsenal do what we haven't done for the last. Didn't do it against Liverpool, didn't do it against West Ham, didn't do it against Southampton, didn't do it against City. You know, for the next 5-6 games, however long's left, we have to do what we haven't done in the last 4. So we have to do our job. Smith Rowe's my guy, man. Even if he is a squad player, you know, he's required. There's nothing wrong with having a squad, you know. But Smith Rowe showed me a fit Smith Rowe at the very least going off of last season. You can be relied upon. Let's not forget Smith Rowe and Saka kind of turned our season around, and dare I say, them two saved certain gaffers' jobs. I do agree with upgrading, but we need a squad. We need curtain raisers, and we also need, for when you get into scenarios like this, if you're not going to raise the curtain on this side, you're going to make sure it doesn't drop a certain level, whether that's at right back, left back, centre half, up front, wherever. In the same way, say what you want about Eddie, and I don't know if he's the guy for the future, but he came in for Jesus and did well. Yeah, there was period, and even Arsenal fans, you lot can be a bit shameless as well, because you lot were crying and wanking over Gabriel Jesus when he weren't there. Anytime Eddie and Ketia was missing certain opportunities, and now certains are turning on him. A very small majority of fans that live in La La Land and just let emotions take them. It definitely is our best time of recently, you know, apart from what during this Emirates era off the top of my head. This year probably better, but this year, the year Leicester did the thing, a bit different. But I would say for me, you know, what was it? The year Eduardo and that got injured. I disagree. I agree with Pedro that in the sense of that, but it was in your hands. It was in your hands. And we can't go back. But had you have held on to Leeds against West Ham, Liverpool, Southampton, had you have turned up for Everton away, had you have done your job against Brentford, you'd be looking at it different. Every striker misses bare chances, bro. I'm not going to kill a striker for missing chances. I expect you to miss chances. Haaland misses bare. Didn't really get none. Obviously, Haaland's better than him. It means you're getting in the right area. Bamian, who was our first striker in a while, that would actually score. Salah misses a lot. Just keep going. But I agree that we need a striker. I don't know if we're going to spend the bands required to get that striker. So I just hope scouts have been doing their job. And if you could get a striker that's better than Jesus, that can tie in with what we're doing with Jesus and Eddie and maybe Balogun, great. But for me, I think you evidently need a different profile. I don't think we should be bringing in someone that's the same one. Or if they are similar, their hold-up play has to be a lot different. I think yesterday showed when we was just kicking it long, why we could deal with that. You go back to the Liverpool game when we was kind of trying to see out the game. We took off Jesus. Obviously, Trossard can play as a false 9, but up against Van Dijk, it's an absolute myth. We're pinned in our own half. I'm not saying to sign Chris Wood, but if you had a Chris Wood, a Giroud, even an Ivan Toney, you can knock it into their chest. They can turn, they can bring people into play, or they can get a foul and we get further up the pitch. It's a 38-game season, man. And until we realize it's not just one approach fits all, it's big. We played better against City last season with a weaker team. Last night, we didn't turn up. Think we got our heads in our own hand. We think we've got into our own heads in the last few games. I hope we learn from this. Football's a mental game, man. But yeah, I don't blame you for all this. If you know, I like the upbeat nature, but for my ifs and buts and could and would and should, I don't like it because obviously we'd have to still do our job. Anytime destiny is not in your hands, I mentally check out. Ramsdale stopped it being 7, but he also could have stopped it being 4, and he also looked shaky as well. I like Ramsdale, but there's a lot that man needs to improve on, man. I'll be real. And he's shown it all. Every player, he's shown it sometimes coming off his line, individual mistakes, sometimes not covering his near and far post well enough. I don't expect him to be the finished article, but you should be closer to that than a lot of people. You know, you're still a young guy and even young as a keeper, but you come into this being called up into the England team, fighting relegation. I actually feel that's a good positive, you know, because where obviously you want to fight for a title more than fight for relegation. But what's the common denominator? High stakes. Margin for error is hardly anything. All week you're thinking about it. 3 points makes everything. No, Muller doesn't need to be on our bench. He's gonna get shotted. Appreciate that. Appreciate the fact that you're a new thingy. So yeah, what positions do Arsenal need to upgrade this summer? Midfield 6, 8. Need a right-sided centre back. Need a right back. If Tini's busting out, need a left back. If you could bring in another winger / striker, preferably a 9, keep doing it, man. Do what needs to be done. Just wish Mikel had a different plan. Why like for like subs last night? Just throw the dice and go for it. We need a different plan when plan A ain't working. To be fair, I think from the start we threw the dice with the lineup. I think we need to be a bit more conservative and box smart, really and truly. It's like if it was a boxing match, we gassed ourselves like, yeah, we're going to not land a knockout blow in the first round. We're going to do this. We got into the boxing round. We started getting scared. And then obviously we got punched up where we needed to go into it, jabbing, blocking, holding our opponent, being a bit cute and clever, you know, doing these sort of things. And then when there's opportunities, we're not street smart. You know, Pep, a team is a reflection of the manager. Pep is street smart, the team's street smart. Arteta, for as much as I like him and in his qualities, he's naive, the team's naive. A bit like, unfortunately, when our under-18s got smacked up against West Ham, experienced manager in West Ham, street smart team. Naive from Jack Wilshere, naive out there on the football pitch. Boy, City drop points. That's why people are optimistic. They can be optimistic, man. They can be optimistic. Let them be. Listen, you can do what you want, innit? City could drop points, but we need to take odds. And I hope to be wrong. I would love to somehow Arsenal win. This is the latest twist, and Arsenal somehow win the league title. And I look back and say, oh, you was tweaking, but that's a myth. You're at their mercy. And if I'm Pep, as I said before the game, I want to send a statement out to Arsenal. This was a crucial period. They had the FA Cup. Now they're in the final. They had this, now it's in their hands. Everything is in their hands now. You know, Real Madrid, if I'm Pep, I want to do the treble. The 3P is the minimum. Real Madrid, anything can happen. You're in the champs, anyone can beat anyone. But as you know, Real Madrid got magical powers, really. Man United, it's an FA Cup final, nothing happens. But it's a Manchester derby, you want to win that. You definitely want as a minimum, you want to retain this title 3 times. City gonna lose the next 3 games. I hope so, man. I hope so, but I don't think that, man. I don't think that. I don't think Pep will allow that. I hope so, but you're wishing on a star, man. It's a 38-game season. I wish this lot would listen to you, DG. You've been saying this all season. Big up to you, sir. K, I appreciate you for rocking with me all season. And they know it. The players know it. Obviously, do I think players are... If we could see behind the scenes and what players for and how they're working and training, we might have a lot more sympathy or less for them. So I do think they have that. But as an ignorant fan, I could only go on going on. I would sell Smith Rowe. Nah, I mean, if Smith Rowe wants to cut in it. Anyone cut. Whoever don't want to be here, cut. But be a bit of a shame. You just have to look at City versus Liverpool title race to know you can't rely on City dropping points. Can't rely on them. You need to maximize the variables you can. And no matter how, we can sit here and say how great City were. We fumbled it. A team that wants to win the league, you make sure you fucking leave Anfield with 3 points, no matter how difficult it is. Going 2 goals up. Going 2 goals up at Anfield, that is unheard of. With their home form for as crap as they've been this season by their own standards. West Ham fighting for their lives. Southampton fighting for their lives. Everton fighting for their lives. Bournemouth fighting for their lives, and we came back from behind. Street smartness. Understanding that, you know, again, for a team that waffles, as much as I love Arsenal, for a team that waffles about, oh, we got 7 finals and that, bro, what game have we played since man started saying that? Have we played like a final? It's definitely not the FA Cup finals. It might be like the early Emirates era where we used to meet Chelsea in the League Cup and get slapped, or it could be like Baku. Sorry for triggering further PTSD. I don't know though. There's no shame in that. We're not close to City. And this is why I didn't agree with fans saying, oh, we got to rest players, put all our eggs in one basket. People are tired. What do you think if we're this team that wants to be competing and in the latter stages of all comps, what do you think is going to happen? There's 3 games, 10 days, twice a week. You have to be able to play. And Arteta has to be cute and clever. You know, City ran away with it against Sheffield United. They rested a couple of players. They savaged us. No clue when City are next in action. I know we are on Tuesday, but yeah, man, I haven't looked at the table. I don't know where we are. The courage and will to win should always exceed the fear to lose. Exactly. And for me, just go out there and try it. If you do that and it's not enough, then we'll see where we could go right and wrong, and we accept that. Unfortunately, there wasn't that. There's many errors. And Arteta's going to have to learn some lessons harshly, you know. Again, God don't help you unless you help yourself. You're going to have to keep learning a lesson in the harshest way until you take heed. And there's certain things, for as much as I like Arteta, he hasn't learned from. I do think he has a ruthless streak in him because he's made a number of unpopular decisions at this football club, which some have worked, some haven't. Some at the time haven't been universally popular. But to a degree, I think some of his faith in certain players will be the death of you in footballing terms. By God's grace, that's not the case for anybody, innit? So yeah, man, it is what it is in that regards. If I share my screen with you, like again, City mentality monsters, man. Like Brother Brian has said, there are still 7 games to play. That's a lot of points. People will say we'll win the title now, but our schedule is hectic. Fair enough. Urging calmness there. Again, yes, we have conceded 13 goals in the last 6 games without Saliba, but there's been times we've got clean sheets, like against Leeds, where we've been terrible. And Saliba would help us out a lot, but it's not as white and black as, yeah, I don't think we concede 13. We might concede 11 or 10. But defensively, we're an improved side. We're not a good side. Saliba doesn't just come in and we lock things up. We're not. It's not. In the same way, Jesus might not play, Eddie might come in, Trossard might come in. You don't see a drop-off defensively. Why? Because we're a good attacking side. We're a mediocre defensive side, unfortunately. So he will not be the Messiah. Yes, he would help us out a lot. But we need to improve our outlook on defending. We need to crave clean sheets. Players yesterday should have been like, all right, cool. If I get ripped, I get ripped. I'm playing Grealish, Bernardo, Haaland. This is where I get to see my true level as a defender in whatever, or as a midfielder. I want to win my individual battles. I want to see if I belong here, because City is one thing and they are one of the best teams in Europe, but you're going to be the champs. You already know the caliber of teams in there and away from home. So if we're respectfully to Liverpool, because Anfield is one of the best stadiums in the world, if man are crying about Anfield atmosphere, if Dons are crying about playing City, what do you think is going to happen when not only playing at potentially the Camp Nou, Bayern Munich, etc., when you're playing like Red Star and all them thing there in group stages, if provided they're there, what do you think is going to happen? Fair enough, though. Rob Holding's so shameless. Let's get a bit of humor. The very fact that he's captain says it all. Man in the wing. He really is better than Cannavaro. But to be fair, you got more goals in the league than Richarlison. And I mean, some good news. We've mathematically qualified for the champs. If we don't learn how to cope now, we're going to cry, Arsenal fans. Big up you lot. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Why is it doing up freezing business? What's this? Pep smoking on all of us. This guy's a demon, man. This guy's a demon. United, at least United tried the thing, but he's smoking on everyone. Savage. And he's probably got the cigars ready for the end of the season. Absolute savage. What one's this? Why is it frozen? This is annoying. Why is it freezing? Stone said we have to give them, in brackets, Arsenal, a lot of credit. We didn't play our game as we normally do. We had man-to-man pressure, and it was difficult to play our usual passes. We tried to counter that by going direct to Haaland. We knew that was going to happen. You know, in the last couple of games, it's been a lot more man-to-man way between both teams. So yeah, I think Vieira summed it up here. I was expecting Arsenal to challenge City a little bit more. It was a big statement from City. They showed they're going to go on and win it. Amen. And if a legend's talking about that, what's been on? Pep still gassing us. Nice ass guy, really. But come on, man. I think our next 3 games will dictate how the title race goes. The reality is today we are behind Arsenal. Come on. There are 2 points in front of us. It will not be easy. We go game by game and see what happens. Come on, Pep. Come on. I respect it, but come on, man. You're having us on there, aren't you? Really and truly. What else has been said, man? Again, just looking into the tactics. On Akanji at left back. In that position, Akanji is our best in build-up. But seeing Manu against Bayern, against Coleman winning the duels, I thought Saka and Martinelli, Cow and him winning runners. After Bayern, I said Manu can do it. He's intelligent and clever. And man, again, that's why Pep he left nothing to chance. Arteta was on the Wenger thing more hopeful. But credit to Wenger, for as much as it was a tactical thing, if you do not believe you can do it, then you have no chance at all. And you can't just believe you can do it. And I'm sure the players did. But based on what I saw as an ignorant Arsenal fan that doesn't know you lot and doesn't see you lot and hear you lot in training, I don't think you lot believed that you could do anything yesterday. And among everything, football's a psychological game away from tactics. You crumbled. Absolutely crumbled. Oh, come on, Twitter. What's going on? This was a stat about John Stones. This was prior to the game. If you remember, before Haaland and Kevin have played those 1-2s for the first goal, it's John Stones who's hoofed it long, you know. John Stones has caused us a lot of issues. John Stones is responsible for 2 of them goals yesterday. He's hooked it for the first one. He's won the header for the last one. Issues. Stones has the best pass rate in the Premier League this season. Holding had the best tackle rate. But this was prior to the game. And to be fair, Holding probably had the best tackle rate of all of us in an Arsenal that are connected to Arsenal, where he's up there. And Stones caused problems. So I don't think certain man did their homework. Or if Arteta gave them a document, I don't know what people are doing, man. People must have been watching the latest episodes of Snowfall and Power and all these things. We couldn't be doing this football thing. We need to pause this or we're going to get copyright. But again, check out the tactics video, people. But this is Kevin De Bruyne. Normally, we do 2 number 8s, but Pep wanted more control. So we were playing a double 6 with Gundogan. And if Partey or Xhaka press, I occupy the space behind. That's what led to the first goal. He's actually run off him. And the second one, he's run off him. Okay, for the second one, well, for his second goal, Odegaard's played a stray pass. Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland are on their bike. And if you remember the first goal, Xhaka, Partey slightly, but Xhaka, Jesus, Odegaard, I believe Martinelli, again, check out the review I did. They've tried to press after Edison has found, sorry, Diaz has found Edison. Edison's given it to Stones. They've tried to press Stones into a mistake in the far right corner. He's lumped it. When in doubt, kick it out. You saw what happened past that for the first goal 7 minutes in, didn't you? Pep's also said, it depends on us until today. I prefer the position for Arsenal because if Arsenal beat us, it's in their hands. Now it's our destiny. I have a feeling the next 3 games will dictate a lot. The next 3 games will be really important. The most important thing is the destiny is in our hands. When you arrive at the end of the season, most important things is to depend on us. We still have 7 games. I love it, Pep, because some fans are saying, oh, if you lose and this happens, we can do this. Forget all of that. It's out of our hands. I hope that it one day fumbles back into our hands, but it's a myth. He also said, I always had a feeling that it would have been difficult to play them at this stage, but after 3 games dropping points, it will be much more difficult now. I would have preferred if they had come here with better results. Pep, you're an elite chess player. Shout out, man. Like, shout out, man. Allow it, Pep. Look, what are you even saying? Like, come on, Pep, man. You're gassing us. I don't know what Cecil's saying, man. Big up Cecil, but he was out here printing off T-shirts with Arsenal, top of the league. Bro, you have to all that. Pep loves capping. Moving like me on Football Manager. We might get it. My minimum expectation is we get to the last 16. Pep's also said, I don't underestimate Arsenal for 1 second. I know how good they are. I give incredible credit to what they've done. I prefer to think they didn't have their best level because we were really good. Yeah, and we were pussies. I prefer to analyze that game saying they were not good. I prefer to analyze that game, not saying they weren't good. We were really good. Saving your boy Arteta a bit. If we play like today, we are an incredibly competitive team, but there are many good teams around the world. Not too many for you in the Prem, though, isn't it? Really. In other years, if you weren't a thing, we would win this Prem title. Unfortunately, City are here to stay. I thought this was interesting from Carragher. Liverpool was Man City's closest challengers for the past 4 years, and Arsenal are the only team to keep pace with them this time. Should we really be so critical of them, given how few others have been capable of matching City standards? The gulf between City and Arsenal was both astonishing and worrying for the rest of the Premier League. I cannot recall a game of such stature, a title head-to-head at the climax of the season that was so one-sided. Yeah, I cannot help but feel some sympathy for Mikel and the players. No, there's no sympathy. We were pussies. And it kills me to say that we're pussies. I don't give a flying monkeys how good City are or we're not. City have dropped points this year. Football, the one thing, great thing about football, any benefits you have as a footballer, faster, stronger, etc., that's God-given and obviously enhanced in the changing room. It's not like F1 where it's largely dictated by the car you have. Dead. And I don't think he's wrong with that, but dead. Cop out, man. Cop out. You can't say mentality shifted and we're doing all these things and we've got a competitive top 6 game, and prior to that game, we've been better again. We still lost, but we've been better against City and then cry about that. I don't think you're wrong, but come on. In the pre-Guardiola era, Arsenal's points tally would still have them on course for the Premier League, just like Klopp's Liverpool. In those years, they finished second. Arsenal proven to be a good team at the wrong time. Everything's a wrong time for Pep. But it's not even about that. We didn't focus on our variables, because in another world, if we had done what we needed to do against Liverpool, against West Ham, Southampton twice, etc., you know, Everton, if I haven't said that, to a degree, it wouldn't matter what happened yesterday. Yesterday could have really been a free hit, but you left yourself no margin for error and ultimately crumbled. So I don't want to hear that. I love my club. I love what we're doing. Again, we didn't learn from last April, provided this is still at 2022. Look what happened. And then look, so the players are not learning. Lightning is struck in twice. And mistakes made once, more than once, become choices. Pep's a bully, innit? Like Arteta, he's got your number, my brother. It's peak. Forget it. This is Premier League fans always criticize other leagues. This is the real Farmers League. This is the real Farmers League. Pep goal, man. Just go back to Barca, rebuild, man, please. It's peak. It's absolutely peak. Forget about it. Just forget about it, people. We've conceded 38 goals now. And in fact, to be brutally honest with you, again, you lot can check all of that stuff out in the tactical review I did. Let's see what Arteta has had to say. On the performance, the analysis is clear. The better team won the game. They were probably at their best, especially in the first half. No, they weren't. We're being disrespectful to them. They weren't at their best. That's not City at their best. That's City minimum. That's a training session, Arteta. They didn't have to be anything near it. They probably didn't even have their shin pads on. And we were nowhere near our level. I don't know. When that happens, the gap becomes too big. And in the first 30 minutes, we didn't do all the basic things that you have to do against an exceptional team. Why is that? Whether that's the manager or the players, why is that? In terms of competing and winning duels and understanding what the game requires, we got punished, and we could have been punished even more. Didn't we say that in Southampton? I don't care what the predictor thing says, but for what it's worth, the stats said at the start of the season that Arsenal were going to finish 6th or 7th. We are where we are with 5 games to go. Those players deserve a lot of credit. True, to be where we are after 9.5 months. That's true, they do. There are still 5 games to play. I've been in this country for nearly 22 years, and I've seen a lot of things. I know how it shifts from game to game. There are no 2 equal games in this league. First of all, we have to lift our players because they suffer tonight. No, they have to lift themselves. Against Southampton, you said you love your players even more. They have to lift themselves. They played against an exceptional team. They did. But they didn't raise it their level to an exceptional level. They know that, but we're an exceptional team as well. We're a good team. We're not exceptional. And today we weren't at the races at the level that was required to win the game. If the only way any other team can win the title is if City have an off year. Well, clearly, I don't really want to read that. On why players failed to do the basics, I prefer to keep that with my players. They were better in it. They were better in every department. They were more aggressive. They kept the ball better. They won every duel. We had them in the corners, and from there in 2 passes, they were in front of our goal. We conceded from a set play and from a throw-in again against us too easy. Boy, they deserve to win the game because they were better. Again, that's because we don't respect defending. On if he was attempted to change his approach in the game. We wanted to tweak a few things, but they were able to execute and score an early goal, which was just like Southampton. You have to understand where we're coming from. We have to be loyal to what has brought us all this way, which is true in principle. We've done it in the past in different ways, and that doesn't guarantee you anything, which is true, Gaffer. It's time to look in the mirror at what we could have done better. I'm the first one and going to the next game. On if the players froze, I don't think they were scared, but the way we started the game didn't help at all. We were shook, man. Sometimes we've got to be honest, we were shook. There's nothing wrong with it. We were shook. We were shook. We wet the bed. Because we put ourselves in trouble in many situations, we lost all races. We lost all the first and second balls. That means we're shook. When that happened, they started to have vertical attacks with open spaces to attack. That created an uncertainty. We could not grab the game the way we wanted. And that's credit to them as well, because they were really good on. So, yeah, on why the team weren't able to compete in the early stages. 1 second, people. Apologies. We're going to get back to this. Smash the like button if you haven't. Don't forget, we're watching Spurs against Manchester United from 8 p.m. I think it's 8:30, 8:15 kickoff. So, yeah. Sorry, people, just keeping a track of my order. I'm expecting Amazon to knock on my door soon still. But yeah, getting back with this. So yeah, he said on why the team weren't able to compete in the early stages. I don't know, because it's a carbon copy of the Southampton game. It's very easy to say that here, but at the end, when you have to play against that team and they play at their best that I've probably seen, then it's extremely difficult to do that. We're capping, man. And Arteta, you know in private, I love you, but you know in private, and the players know City weren't at their best. We've got the best City. We've been smacked up by the best City sides. They were nowhere near it. And that's testament to them and damning on us. Anyways, people, he said, just accept the reality. That's the best way to move forward. That's true. Accept that today they were better than us, that they deserve to win the game, that we never had the chance to win the game, that we have to improve, be better, and be humble enough to accept that. In sport, you have to do that if you want to be better. And then he said, but we knew we were going to need our best as a team and individually. Individually, you have to be at your best, and you need 11 players to do that. Today, we were far from it. Finally, he said, I don't know what's going to be required. For sure, we have to first lift the players up because they suffered tonight, and it was a difficult one to swallow. We'll lift them up again tomorrow and do everything we've done so far in the next game to earn the right to win the next game. That's where we have to start right now. It sounds good. Big up the gaffer, but it sounds good. Ramsdale, we're not giving up. That's great. I don't think you are. But brother, you man gave up on the pitch. You played like a team giving up. The thing I like, football does the talk. You have to talk with your feet. For what it's worth, though, the keeper, you're still my keeper, but we bottled it. The immediate reaction coming off the pitch is disappointment. We came here to win the game, and we haven't managed to do that, did we? Based on how we started. We haven't played 9 months of Premier League football to be in this position to moan or give up. We're not going to do that. If something is going to happen, it's going to be in our league. So we've got to be there to pounce if anything happens. To be fair, at Ramsdale, if I'm cynical, you said finishing third would be a good season, which on the basis of the previous years it would. But it might be a gaze into the mentality that maybe I'm not saying we're going to push for the league, but maybe because we've for a long time confirmed indirectly, not mathematically, that we'll be in the champs. Maybe we've taken the handbrake off and coasted for too much. I like it, but we have this mentality of there's always tomorrow in the league, and that doesn't always happen. You know, sometimes you do get another game. There's still other games, but when you're fighting for things, you need to maximize stuff. As I said, for me, we should have been coming into the City game with 6 points. We didn't do that. So this is what happens. Anyways, nothing changes for us. We'll go through everything as we always do, and learn from our mistakes individually and collectively. Unfortunately, tonight we haven't been able to do what we came to achieve. Fair enough. He said, they'll punish you if you're half a yard too slow into the press or not winning headers or second balls. It was difficult to get a foothold in the game, but at the same time, we didn't impose ourselves enough in the first half, giving them a 2-goal lead, and they were relentless. That's what they are. They're just a frightening team when they want to be. We're aspiring to be the best team in this league, so we'll look at how they do things and try to be up there with them. Credit to the lads that were this close to them. That's true, but forget that, man. Second place, first loser sort of thing. They're a credit to themselves and the football team, and they give us huge pushes. This relates to the fans. We're definitely disappointed that we can't send them home with a smile on their faces. But if there's one thing about this set of fans, which I've seen over the last 18 months, they don't give up. They know that we're giving our all. Generally, yesterday didn't give you all. Everton away didn't give you all. They know that we're giving our all. Mistakes can happen. We saw the backing I got last week with my mistake, how the whole stadium got behind me. There'll be no moans and groans back home on Tuesday night when we're playing against Chelsea. They're top drawer, and hopefully they have a safe trip back, and I can't wait to see them on Tuesday and make things right. Let's chat in more sappings, man. Don't do the chat-ins. Allow the second Arteta thing, bro. Allow it, fam. Allow it, man. Arteta, how is Arteta going to win us silver? He technically has. Recruitment team out a bit harsh. Arteta has 0 trophies. If we're going to run everyone's allowed their opinion, and I'm not Arteta's Goldie in it. I support my club. I just don't think we should get him in it. But really, let's make sure it makes sense. Man said he stayed composed. Shout out to you, man. I didn't, you know, I'm into galley, but we're all a thingy, man. We're all inclusive out here. If you wanted to see my top off, you wait till summer, my guy. You always here trolling me. Leave me alone. I don't think we're pussies, DG. I just think, but we were pussies yesterday. I'm sorry, we were pussies yesterday. Sorry, we were pussies yesterday. We were shook yesterday. We were absolutely shook. And in the last 4 times we have played them, we have lost. Why am I only mad about the last game that we've played? How many times I can only speak from my own opinion. It's not a fact, but the last 3 games, Emirates twice, this year and last, the FA Cup and today. Why am I only mad about this? I saw a different mentality in them games there. I didn't see it then. So for me, we were pussies yesterday. Simple as they didn't want it. You didn't want it. You didn't even want to go back into the. Obviously, they didn't go out there to lose or to play poorly on purpose. But you didn't want it. You were shook. It can't be the atmosphere. Most City fans see in the stadium forever. I have to, man. I got nothing else, man. City are mad team. We do need to move on, but forget all of that. Away from all of that, though, people, I don't know where you lot have been, but allegedly, if it will ever load, David Ornstein's allegedly been speaking, people. This was prior to the game. Allegedly, David Ornstein gives a little update on Arsenal's targets in the summer market. Rice, Caicedo, Mohamed Kudus. David Ornstein confirms that Kroenke is preparing to spend money. Allegedly, people. Allegedly, he's quoted to have said that on a podcast. The Athletics' David Ornstein appeared on Peacock's coverage of Arsenal's game against Man City on Wednesday night, and he gave an update on the Gunners' transfer market intentions. As confirmed by many sources in recent months, Ornstein reported that Arsenal are heavily interested in Declan Rice, but he added that the West Ham manager is one of their targets. Arsenal also hold an interest in Caicedo of Brighton, Mount of Chelsea, Kudus of Ajax. According to claims, Arsenal will be looking to sign either Rice or Caicedo, probably need both for the 6th position, with either Mount or Kudus as an 8. If that's correct, it sounds unlikely Arsenal will be signing both Caicedo and Rice in the summer window. Perhaps that was always unlikely given the prices touted for 2 players. But you know, in a great scenario, you would have probably got Caicedo in Jan, and then you would have probably went for Rice in the summer. But either one will help. Half of these names will help, really. So we'll have to see how that develops. Apparently, Arsenal are strongly considering a fresh move to sign Caicedo this summer, though Fabrizio Romano admits Brighton's potential sale of another star may scupper the Gunners' chances. Specifically, he said Caicedo will again be a name to watch during the summer window after one of the big January stories. The Ecuadorian midfielder aggressively pushed for a move, but Brighton rejected offers from Chelsea and Arsenal. Caicedo had issued a statement on his social media platforms saying he wanted to leave for a magnificent opportunity, only to sign a deal at Brighton until 2027 with an option another year. Brighton did handle the situation brilliantly. We don't need to keep saying that, people. Brighton's outgoings are going to be intriguing and should be viewed collectively in many ways. Tony Bloom and Paul Barber will only sell on their terms if replacements are found. De Zerbi won't want a mass exodus, especially if Brighton qualify for Europe. The last thing Brighton will want is to lose Caicedo and Alexis. For me, they will lose Alexis. They could hold on to Caicedo. Money talks. Arsenal, he said, Arsenal can't really be faulted for not getting Caicedo in Jan. It just wasn't a case of stumping up more in the end with time running out in the window. Brighton was simply not prepared to sell. Arsenal made 2 offers, the highest being for a total package of 70 million, then walked away. Brighton never directly quoted a price on Caicedo. It's not how they work when they don't want to engage or sell. The summer may be different and crucially a longer window. Caicedo will be a great fit at Arsenal, but striking a deal with Brighton won't be easy at all, and maybe even harder, or at least drawn out if McAllister goes first, which apparently probably will be one of the first general players to leave in the market, people. The Seagulls still have all the control because of how they handled their star names, which is true, people. So, yeah. There are other Premier League clubs looking at Caicedo as well. Chelsea obviously placed a bid in January. They'll bring in another midfielder, but who will now depend on the input from the new manager. Liverpool have held a long-standing interest in Caicedo, dating back to his time in his homeland, but they never bidded in January, and McAllister is more likely at this stage, people. Apparently, rumours have said we have agreed a deal to sign N'Golo Kante on a 2-year deal, people. If you believe that, you believe that, innit? AC Milan, Sky Sports also had this, but AC Milan apparently have offered a deal to Reece Nelson as his contract's running out. I think you was one of the only positives we could talk about, if anything, against City. It could be, game over for Smith Rowe. Apparently he's disappointed, says Chris Wheatley, and he's wanted by Aston Villa, who also have his former manager Unai Emery. The journalist said there's absolutely truth in that. Emery is a big admirer of Emil Smith Rowe. Don't forget he was the manager who gave him his opportunity in the Arsenal first team when he took over as head coach. I know he's disappointed with his lack of first team opportunities, whether or not he looks for a move away from the... Oh gosh, something dropped. One sec. Shouldn't be kicking things, but yeah, where were we before I did that, people? Yeah, whether or not he looks away for a move away from the club is another stage altogether. He's a quality player, offers a lot, and I think in games like that against Southampton, I think Smith Rowe could have offered something different to someone like Vieira, and I think Arteta realizes the error in his ways because you didn't elect for Vieira off the bench against City, or maybe you knew it was a write-off and you wanted to give players that are on the fringes a run out. I think Villa might be a really good opportunity for him with a really, really good coach in Emery, who knows him really well. So let's wait and see on that one, but it's definitely one to watch. Arteta did say last week or before that, he recently claimed Smith Rowe was pushing to be in contention. He's pushing, and in football, what you did a year ago, a month ago is not important. It's about what you do now, what you do yesterday, and what you do tomorrow. So why are some players always playing? That player has to have that mindset, and contribution has to be now to the team, has to make us even better and to win and make us win games. He's very close. So maybe Arteta deems that, you know what, Smith Rowe thinks he's really arrived now, even when he might not. Apparently, Arsenal and PSG are two of the main clubs vying for the capture of a talented Brazilian. Ooh. Estavio William, isn't he? Yeah, I'm about to say, isn't this kid the kid they talk about, Messinho and all of that? I mean, if he's got potential, bring him in it. The Victor Rules, the Hendricks, if he's on that thing, bring him. Bring him. If we lose Smith Rowe, Arteta is a confirmed clown. Doesn't matter who we sign. We have a manager who doesn't know how to actually manage the team. But we sit second. I'm not saying don't ask Arteta questions and criticize him, but what's going on? Fact, shout out DG for not doing the joke man thing while you were winning. Bro, I'm about football. We have a laugh and a joke and things, but it's a football thing, man. I'm not here for the gimmick thing, man. It's dead. Yeah, it might be good in engagement, but you're gonna make yourself look like a dickhead, and quite frankly, I'm not here for that. There's nothing wrong with wanting an elite manager, but who? Anyways, Fabrizio Romano has said it's not an easy loan spell at Crystal Palace for Lokonga. Still, Arsenal trust his skills and his potentials, but they want him to play. He needs to play. It's possible they'll discuss one more loan season, but this is something they'll clarify with the playing agent in June and not now. Probably needs to, because there's a Euros to think about for Belgium. You're on the cusp of it. You're not involved. How are you going to get in there? By playing. That's the only thing. Really, giving Smith Rowe was a bit of a mistake. Might have given him too much hope. He might be a regular. Big up expressions, but yeah, he's doing his thing. Lavier's getting Chelsea. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool have all registered an interest in Valencia's 20-year-old midfielder Yunus Musa. Bring him back home to the carpet, man. I didn't say Tret second's a trophy, but he's literally said Arteta didn't win a trophy. You can give him all the criticisms you want, especially since this has become a thing. I'm not Arteta's dad. I'm not here to fight it. And respectfully, I respect everyone's opinion, but I'm not going to live or die by your opinion. I don't think Arteta sacking him today is the right thing. There might come a time, but I don't. If you lot have been missing anyways, people, Fresnadar said, I like Arteta a lot because I think he's a great coach. I follow the European leagues. I think the work Arteta is doing with his club is fantastic. Moving away from that, Maitland now said Emre should have been given more time at Arsenal. For what it's worth, though, should Arsenal stick to the transfer price of 40 million, Leipzig will refrain from a possible Balogun transfer. Package is currently considered too expensive. Leipzig has already scouted Balogun. Other candidate on the list is somebody else who's of no relevance to us. Apparently, Arsenal are monitoring Rafinha's situation at Barcelona. We've also heard that Barcelona actually want 90 million euros. Allegedly, scouts will be in attendance, people, on Wednesday, which was already gone, to look at Josip Solato, who's been linked with us, and we're also interested in Martin Buratina. Ain't that the centre mid? You know what? Croatia got some ballers. It's about time we get some. Maybe we should have bought, big up Jorginho, but maybe it would have made sense to have bought Kovacic to the carpet. He's been linked with Bayern Munich and City. Ainsley's confirmed he's leaving in the summer. It's been a great journey, but it's come to an end now. Southampton is a great club to be at. If they were to make an offer, I'll be more than happy to stay away from that. So we're reading a couple of these things. Again, the dream is free. The Arsenal is sold separately, as you lot already know, people. What shall be, shall be. 92 likes, people. 8 more likes. Yeah, 8 more likes, and we've hit 100. So make sure you're doing such there. Why is it taking forever to load? Earlier, we did hear Arsenal sent their scouts to follow both Martin Zubimendi and Robin Lenormand this year, as they're doing excellent with Real Sociedad, but nothing is concrete yet. The Gunners plan on new signings will be made in the next weeks. Nothing is advanced yet. And finally, people, in fact, that's tell money. Finally, in relation to Declan Rice, big development in Arsenal move for Declan Rice. West Ham are demanding 100 million for Arsenal target Declan Rice this summer, sources have told Football Insider. West Ham are refusing to budge on their asking price. They'll come around, whether it's to Arsenal or elsewhere. We all know he's got 12 months left on his deal. We'll have to see exactly what's going on. And, a number of clubs have been linked with Declan Rice, so we'll have to see what's going on there. The Irons captain is believed to be keen to stay in the capital if he joins a new club in the summer, and fellow London club Arsenal believe they'll win the race to sign his signature. It's not done until the man signs, isn't it, really? I hear that, but who's the manager? I'm not saying that it's your job. Listen, I don't really care if you rate Arteta or not and all these things, but who's coming in? Because that new manager you bring in, you're going to have to give him the luxury of a free hit of a season. You're going to have to allow, what if he comes in and says, you know what, fuck Jesus, Zinchenko, etc., I don't want them anymore. You're going to have to now rebuild the squad. And I'm not saying this is necessarily wrong, but Yeah, Tierney's been linked with Man City again. So yeah, I'll leave you lot to that, people. With that being said, though, we've been here for an hour and 40 minutes. Arsenal therapy session done. Check out the rest of the content. I'll be back at 8 p.m. to watch Spurs against Man United, people. So yeah, appreciate you lot's talking points, opinions, etc., etc. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you lot later, man.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like.